Moves it for Rogers for three for the win. Western Kentucky doesn't break.
The Lady Toppers come from behind, and they'll go dancing.
The Sun Belt Conference Championship returns to the Hill again.
Go. They got 2 seconds, 1 second for the win. For the win. Oh, my.
What a play by Bassi.
Inside of Bassi for the throw-out. The Hilltoppers are champions of Conference USA.
It's a three. One down it goes. Dante Allen.
Crosses through 2 defenders, step through the lane. Ball picks it up, dunks it down. Lander pulls up off the window. Western Kentucky on top. Woo! McHenry again. First team All-Conference USA. Sweet Fancy Moses. What a hammer. Step through the lane. The Hilltoppers are champions of Conference USA.
Just 1 year ago, Hilltopper basketball sat at the mountaintop of Conference USA, earning the program's first NCAA tournament berth in over a decade. But this season, with a new leader of WKU basketball, injuries have impacted this team's hopes of hoisting another title in Huntsville. And 1 week out, there is still hope for Coach Plona to take WKU back to the Hilltop and CUSA. But on the other side, Coach Collins reconstructed his roster and is poised for a title run, riding a 5-game winning streak. This team has the momentum to make a Cinderella run. The only question left is, does the slipper fit? Welcome inside Studio 2, the home of the Extra Point. Cole McIntire, Addie Schanie, Ryan Murphy, Hannah Hamelback. Guys, it's an hour and a half of local basketball coverage, and it starts right now. Addie, what are you most excited for?
Well, first, what a beautiful montage we had leading into the show.
Yeah.
Really building up the hype.
I know. Yeah.
Yes. I sat down with WKU assistant women's basketball coach Tara Arnold-Johns. She actually used to be a player here about a decade and a half ago, and it was wonderful to hear her story about getting to return home to her alma mater and just how special that is for her as a Kentucky girl.
Well, the same day that we did the interview with Coach T, I got to sit down with Josie Gilvin, who has just been a household name all season long for Hilltopper Nation. So it'll be really fun to get to know her a little bit off the court, because we know her on the court. But we also have Todd Stewart coming in for a live sit-down interview, so that'll be a lot of fun. And we've had him on a lot of our shows. We've had him on Homecoming, March Madness last year. So it's good to have him back and get to know him a little more than we already do as the athletic director.
And you can't forget about the local action. 4th Region High School basketball, it's going on just across the street all week and next week over the coming weeks. Girls currently in action right now. Championship game tomorrow. But Cole, you were also in Diddle Arena earlier this week with a birthday boy.
Well, yeah, exactly. Happy birthday to Woo. He did give his shoes to some kids after the game, and I had to ask him post-game. It is confirmed Woo will have shoes for the Saturday game, so he'll be good to suit up. Might need them. So he'll be good on that end. But it was fun to catch up with Woo. Again, like we're doing with a lot of these interviews, learn more about the players, learn more about Todd Stewart, learn more about the coaches, and get to know them as people, not just coaches or players. They're more than that.
Right.
So we're going to keep the action, though, inside Diddle Arena with the girls' 4th Region tournament, because now Kaylee Marksberry and Alec Fouch are inside Diddle Arena with the sights and sounds of this year's girls' 4th Region tournament.
The 4th Region semifinals gave us a very good inside look at some very dramatic plays, including some questionable calls maybe on the court and some passionate fans. But this year will be the first year in the last 5 that Bowling Green will not take home a regional title, which is crazy. Alec, tell me what you think Franklin Simpson has to do to take home this win.
Well, Franklin Simpson has to dominate in the paint down low. They rely heavily on their center, Larisha Cawthorn, to pound the ball inside against a strong but stout Metcalfe County defense. They also have to dominate the glass, as Kawhi Leonard once said, board man gets paid, and Larisha Cawthorn is going to get her money's worth, Kaylee. She finished with 15 rebounds against Barron County and is going to be the player to watch for the Lady Cats. Look for her to finish in double figures if Franklin Simpson wants to have a shot at Rupp Arena. Now, if Metcalfe County wants to win, on Saturday. They have to key in on the Lady Cats' lack of three-point shooting, Kaylee.
Oh, for sure. That is definitely something that I have noticed, is that Franklin Simpson does not ever pop out for threes. They immediately drive it towards the basket. So I do think that Metcalfe County has to have strong defense, especially in the paint. And Alec, as we know it, defense wins championships. But however, if we do look offensively, I think Josie Allen will be someone to look out for. Considering she had 17 points against Bowling Green, she is someone Metcalfe relies on, especially with her heavy rebounding. I mean, she had 9 rebounds against Bowling Green, but again, going back to Larisha Cawthorn, who had 15 rebounds, I think that there will be some great competition on the court, lots of aggression to be seen looking forward.
Yeah, Kaylee, Metcalfe County really snuck their way into that semifinal matchup after that controversial lane violation call on Monday night. And they rode that momentum into Tuesday with a huge W against the 5-time defending region champs, Bowling Green. Well, Kaylee, a new 4th region champ will be crowned here in Diddle Arena tomorrow night. For the Extra Point, I'm Alec Fouch.
And I'm Kaylee Marksberry.
Thanks, Kaylee and Alec. They've been killing it all week with the 4th region tournament coverage. Our entire team really has been killing it with local high school basketball. It's been fun to see these teams out on the hardwood, especially on the home floor in Diddle Arena.
Absolutely, and there's true passion about it. You can tell by Kaylee's little
little
shimmy.
There you go.
Like
She's excited to be out there.
Yes.
There you go. But we're staying inside Diddle Arena, so don't change that channel, because up next, Hilltopper basketball. We're going to be talking to them as they enter the home stretch of the regular season.
And Cole recreated an iconic image in basketball history with Wu Marshall. Find out if Cole is taking his talents to South Beach. Next on The Extra Point.
They offered me a contract.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Yo, camping buddy. Okay, you guys ready?
Dude, I thought you were driving.
I thought you were driving.
Oh, I never said I was driving.
I definitely can't drive.
Okay.
If you're high, just don't drive. It's illegal everywhere. If you feel different, you drive different.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Okay. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Every game's gonna have to be a fight. It's gonna come down, to the last play, to the nitty-gritty. Who wanted it more? Who's gonna get on the floor?
Wide open Marshall, free! That's 9 trips. Marshall, 3, book it. That's his second one. He's getting it going, but Leland Marshall with a triple. Another one! 3 in a row.
Rejected inside. Blocked by Tyrone Marshall Jr.
Shout out Sean Ackerman. All those little things that you see coming out of commercial, he's so talented at that. It's killing it. Building the hype for this show again. Hour and a half of basketball coverage is happening right now of the local teams. But Addie, first let's talk about WKU basketball.
It's been a great season.
Exactly, especially with the storylines following this team. Obviously, coming into the season, hopes of another CUSA run with many players returning. And right now, the storyline so far this season has been the number of injuries that have affected them. The most recently, of course, Julius Thedford looks to be doubtful to return for this season, and Babacar Faye as well. And Coach Plona confirmed that he will not be returning to the floor, applying for a medical redshirt. So those two players are key pieces of this Hilltopper team that they wanted to make a run with. But still, they're finding ways to win, which is why Coach Plona was named to that Joe B. Hall Award watch list as one of the top 16 candidates because what he's been able to do with those injuries.
And it's really been impressive to see what they're able to do. If we could look at some of the numbers we've got on this team, I mean, it's just really been impressive. If you look at that turnover margin, third in Conference USA, they're proving that they're able to take care of the ball. Another thing that stands out is those 28 defensive rebounds a game, which is first in Conference USA. They're dominating the defensive class. They're shutting down chances for second chance points. They're not doing as well on the other side of the ball with rebounds, though, and that's where I, see where there could be some issues come conference tournament time.
And Coach Plona has referenced that before. He said, we're not going to be the biggest team because of the injuries and because of what's been happening, but what they can be is the quickest and most intense team. I think you're seeing that, especially in that game against FIU. They tried to get on transition, especially in that second half against FIU when they won. Christian Lander, his best plays were downhill, attacking the basket, getting and one play. So I think they're figuring that part of the game out. But another player that's been leading them is Don McHenry. Addie, I know he's been a big player for him.
He's really been the glue for this team. The 6'2 senior guard is putting up 17 points per game, 3 rebounds per game, 1.7 assists per game, and he's beloved by this fan base. On senior night, you saw that group of students with the I Heart Dawn shirts. I wish we had a picture of it to show you guys, but if that doesn't say something about the impression he's made on the fan base, I don't know what else would.
You can see it in the background of the highlights. So
Oh,
there
yeah,
they are.
look, there they are.
I love Don. It's just awesome that you can see the support growing for this team. I think the players are feeding off of that. This is their final game tomorrow night against Liberty, and they want to go out with a bang. But another player is that senior forward, Wu Marshall, and Wu has made impacts on the court for a long time now, averaging just over 10 points per game, just under 6.5 rebounds. He's also moving the ball incredibly well. Wu is a player that Coach Plona has talked about defensively. He's talked about him being a Swiss Army knife and how he can guard positions 1 through 5. He has great switchability. He can hedge off of screens. He can play guards. He can help with the press. He can do so many things so well defensively and offensively. Of course, I think what my favorite thing that Wu Marshall does is when he attacks the rim, he's one of the best players, not just in the conference but in the nation. When he throws it down, Diddle Arena is going to get loud.
He can do it all, and he's got a kind heart. Clearly, you talk about him giving his shoes to those kids. So love to see someone who's doing good things for the community, also doing good things on the court.
And now I got the chance to talk to Wu and learn more about the high-flying phenom story. So now let's go inside Diddle Arena with Wu Marshall.
We are inside Diddle Arena with senior forward Wu Marshall, and Wu, a lot of fans know you for throwing it down in this arena, getting this stadium cranking, and I want to know, when was your first time you threw it down on a basketball court?
My first time I threw it down on a basketball court, I was in 11th grade.
Okay.
It was a jamboree game at McGavick High School, and that was actually when I caught my, as you call it, your first body contact dunk.
Okay. So you postered somebody?
Yeah, that was my first dunk.
Okay, there you go. What type of dunk was it? Just off one?
It was a little one hand, off the corner.
Yeah, there you go. Putting people on business. Now, I gotta know, pre-game, do you have a go-to hype song or superstition that gets you in the right mindset for a game?
I listened to my little cousin, Chris the rapper. He got a song called 24, It's About Me, so I play it in the headphones and I listen to it over and over.
So you're making posters, music's after you, you're just a superstar.
Yeah.
Superstar. With the steal, sends it in, and the Tops are on a roll.
Off the window, Western Kentucky.
Marshall Street needs to go down. Let's see if that gets him going.
Oh, blocked by Marshall.
And you've been through now 3 different head coaches, and each head coach brings a different brand of basketball that they want to have. What is this brand's team this season specifically, and what you guys are trying to accomplish and what you guys identify with as a group?
I feel like this team is, like with this coach, it's kind of similar to Coach Lutz. You know, we still a running gun team. I feel like this year we are more of a defensive team. Like I feel like we focus more on defense instead of offense. If our defense is going, like, our offense is going to go automatically. But, like, if we slow on the offensive end, our defense always backs us up. So I say this year is definitely the defensive end of the ball side.
Yeah, I like that. And coaches talked about in press conferences, too, how you're almost a Swiss Army knife on the defensive side of the ball because you can guard 1 through 5, you can switch, you can help with hedging off screens, you can do a lot of things defensively. Is that something you've taken pride in, is the growth of your defensive game and how every team now you're probably going to be one of the players that's guarding the top offensive threat every night out in conference play?
Yeah, I love having being the player they can call on to go stop somebody. I feel like if I guard the best player, we can win every night. Because how can they score without their best player? But I just feel like anything Coach Hank or any coach tell me to do, I just want to get it done the best I can do it. And God gave me the best, the best talent to guard 1 through 5, so I take it and I use it, And it helps me on the offensive end too, because sometimes if I go play the 5, I got a 5-man on me, and I can work on the outside for him. I can take him to the right. He might be a little slower on his feet because I'm the 5-man.
Looking around this arena, you've seen this place where it gets loud, it gets cranking, and one of my favorite things that you guys, I think Coach Lutz started, it was the post-game fist bump, where you guys talk to fans, and I see you interact with them, and you're one of the fan favorites. What has this Bowling Green community, this new home for you, done for you in your career?
It brought me so much joy. Everybody that comes out, I love them with so much. Even before the game started, I even pray for everybody in the arena. Safe travels here and safe travels home. The fans, that's what makes us. When they come out, sometimes when we down, they still come and still try to bring us up in joy. I remember it was a lady on one side. She was like, "Keep your head up. I'm y'all #1 fan." It just brings joy to me when I can see a fan like that still comes out while we on our downfall a little bit. But playing in the arena with Ditto fans is probably the best thing in my life. Really, to be real, just to see people that really loves and enjoy it and seeing us, watch us play basketball at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. So, I got one last question for you. I've always wanted to dunk and throw it down in Ditto Arena, but I'm not as athletic as you. So my question for you is can I be Dwayne Wade, you be LeBron James? I get you that assist and throw it down in Ditto.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Okay. Sure. All right. You get it?
That's it. That's it.
Yep.
After that pass, you think Cologne's going to give you a scholarship?
Oh, no, we're going to have to work on it.
Work on it?
A little bit more.
Walk-on status, maybe?
Walk-on.
Walk-on status. Sure. Okay. Book it. Get in a roster spot.
All right, Cole, we've got to know. Are you taking your talents to South Beach? I mean, it looks like it.
I think so. I mean, I know they just traded Jimmy Butler, so they're looking for a player that can throw it down.
You're tall enough.
Yeah, I'm tall enough. I'm 6'4". That counts. Yeah, it counts for something.
Slide your way in there. I thought it was so cool how he said his pregame warm-up song was written about him.
Yeah.
If that doesn't get you in the right mindset,
exactly.
I don't know what else
And
would.
it's called 24, his jersey number.
It's awesome.
It's perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, up next, it's time to sit down with the man leading WKU athletics.
Reporter Hannah Hamelback will join Todd Stewart right here in Studio 2 next on The Extra Point.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
Welcome back to The Extra Point. Today we have special guest athletic director Todd Stewart joining us. Thank you so much, Todd, for coming on the show today. Once again, he was here for homecoming. Now he's back for March Madness. First, I just want to start by getting your overall assessment of the men's and women's season so far. How would you evaluate their performance up until this point?
Well, they've both had very different circumstances. I think our women's team has really had a very solid season all the way around. I mean, 22-7 right now, and playing very, very well heading to the conference tournament. Our men got off to a great start. We were actually 9-3 at one point, and then we've had a lot of injuries that have really impacted things. But I give everybody credit. I mean, they've stuck together. It's a very tight team, and you know, again, it comes down to just playing your best in the tournament, and I think we're well positioned to make another run.
So for the Lady Toppers, this season is the 34th time that the Lady Toppers have won over 20 games, which is just awesome. How has Coach Greg Collins shaped the program so far? You know, what's just impressed you the most about his coaching style?
Honestly, Hannah, it was really like what we did from the time last season ended to when this season started. You know, last year we got off to a decent start, but did not finish well at all. And I think had an 8-game losing streak actually going into the offseason. But he changed the approach, and a lot of our players really dedicated themselves throughout the summer to stay here and work on their game. You know, like you look at Josie Gilvin, how much she's improved from last year to this year. That's just one example. And the time they put in the summer refocused everybody, and I think is what's led to this year's success.
Speaking of Lady Toppers, we have a package coming up. Addie sat down with Coach T. So what went into the decision to bringing back a former Lady Topper as an assistant coach, and how do you think that she has impacted the program so far this season?
Well, she's been great, and I think when you hire somebody, you look at a couple things. One, obviously, in every case, do you feel like they're a good coach? Will they do a good job? And I think that certainly there were no questions about that with her. But the other thing you look at is fit. You know, are they a good fit with our program? Well, obviously, she's a former player, so she is. I mean, she knows Bowling Green, she knows Western Kentucky, she knows the Lady Topper program very well, and she hit the ground running, and it's been a great addition to our staff.
Yeah, in the interview, she said that her mentality is just never give up, and I think that mentality is definitely transferred into the play so far this season. But moving into men's basketball, you know, Polona is a finalist for the Joe B. Hall Award. You know, for his first season so far, what kind of things have you seen in his coaching style so far?
Well, I think what you have to really look at is like what has somebody done with what they've been presented with. And I think given the injuries that we've had, and as good as the league is, Conference USA really is very, very good from top to bottom this year. There aren't really any easy games. So he's navigated that extremely well. And obviously he played a big role in last season's team. It was more behind the scenes, but you know, he was Steve Lutz's right-hand man, and you know, played a big role in us winning a conference championship last year, and I think he's got us well positioned for a lot of good years ahead.
So looking into Conference USA as a whole so far, how would you assess the overall strength of the CUSA men and women's compared to last year's?
I think it's a better league from top to bottom. You know, and honestly, this is the 13th year I've been the athletic director here, and I think it's the best league from top to bottom that we've had. There have been other years when maybe the top 2 or 3 teams were better, but you didn't have the depth all the way through, and I really feel like that's what's really unique this year. It's that it is a solid league from top to bottom, which should make for a very exciting tournament.
Right. So with the recent NCAA lawsuit regarding junior college transfer ruling, do you see this decision impacting WKU and other mid-major programs in terms of recruiting and roster management?
I think it will. I mean, I really do. You're going to have a lot more players in the portal and veteran players available, which I think a lot of people will try to sign them first, which will leave more high school players available. And I think one thing we can do now is maybe get some high school players that otherwise we wouldn't have because of the fact that a lot of people are focusing on the junior college players that will be eligible that wouldn't have been.
Yeah. Well, Red Tall Trust is some people that we've been getting some sit-downs and some interviews with. You know, they've been a major step forward in supporting WKU athletics in the last couple years. How do you see this their collective evolving in coming years, and is there any plans to keep growing in the near future?
We definitely need to keep growing it. You know, I think what could happen in the future is as the rules change, that might be something that we can bring in-house and actually run it from the athletic department. Right now, it has to be an outside entity, but you know, obviously when you're trying to build a program, players are important, facilities are important, but the NIL is important now too. It really is. Players want to know what opportunities they're going to have to make money off the court, and that is a huge part of what we do.
Yeah. Well, looking at you just as the athletic director, you know, you've been an instrumental part of the growth of WKU athletics in your tenure so far. What do you believe has been the biggest keys of success in your tenure as athletic director?
I think a winning culture on and off the field of play, and I give our coaches credit, you know, for recruiting true student athletes, and our athletes credit for dedicating themselves to be successful. But because they have done so and they've taken that approach, I just feel like the across-the-board success that we've had is what is really unique. You know, we've won 42 conference championships since we entered Conference USA, but 11 different sport programs have won one. That's pretty unique today in college athletics.
Well, to wrap things up on a fun note, I have two more questions for you. So, if you could pick any 5 WKU athletes from any sport to build your dream basketball roster, because it is March, who would they be and why?
Okay, so we're going to make this a co-ed dream team.
Yes, co-ed dream team.
Okay, so I'm going to start with Bailey Zappi, our quarterback from a couple years ago, because I feel like if you're the all-time leader in the history of college football in passing yards and passing touchdowns, then they have to be on the team. So Bailey. Then we're going to go with Lauren Matthews, who was a 4-time All-American on our volleyball program. She has the highest hitting percentage in the history of the program, and also the last 4 years she was here, we won an NCAA tournament game. So again, individual success and team success. Then I'm going to go with our baseball catcher, Matt Rice. He was here. He played, this last year was 2011, so that's going back a little bit, but he leads the program in all-time hits and in RBI. So it's about getting on base and about knocking in runs. He did that, and again was part of teams that went to the NCAA tournament. Then in softball, we had a pitcher named Miranda Kramer. She was only here 1 year, but she was phenomenal. Probably the greatest pitcher in the history of the program, and beat North Carolina and Georgia in the NCAA tournament. So wins like that, she's going to be on our team, and then it's about winning, right? So we're going to cap it off with the only gold medalist in the history of WKU athletics. That was our swimmer, Claire Donahue, who won a gold medal in the 2012 Olympics in London. So that's my team.
That sounds like a dream team. Wow. All right. Well, last question. We know you as the athletic director, but if it was up to you, if you could coach any sport, what would it be and why?
Well, I think if I had any chance to be successful as a coach, and that would be a leap of faith for whoever put that on me, but I think it would have to be something that I actually played. So I played basketball and baseball in high school, so I'd probably feel the most comfortable with those two sports.
One of those?
Right.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much, Todd, for joining us once again. Up next, Cole and Ryan are facing off in Extra Points' top segment, Delay of Game. Don't miss their debate next here on the Extra Point.
Bring it. Time out, guys. I'm late to dinner. My mom's gonna kill me. Catch you guys later.
Mom wants us home. Okay. Bye, guys. You guys need a ride?
Sure. Oh, yeah. All right. How about some one-on-one? I gotta go eat, man. Sorry, I'll see you later.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Welcome back to the Extra Point. It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Delay of Game. A quick reminder, each contestant will have 40 seconds to argue their point without interruption. After that, the gloves are off, guys. Today, I'm joined by sports directors Cole McIntire and Ryan Murphy.
Whose idea was it to do this? My goodness.
Wasn't a good idea. I'm scared to moderate
this. Isn't going to end well.
First, let's take a look at the boys' state tournament. Who's winning the state title this season, Ryan?
I think it's going to be an obvious answer. Cole McIntire will try to argue otherwise, but whatever he says, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, he's wrong. Because it's St. X. It's going to be the Tigers. We got to take a look at some of their numbers so far this season. 28-2 overall, and if you want to look no further, just look at their offense. 80 points per game in high school is unreal. That's just their average. They've had huge performances all season long. They lead the state in that category. They have the second largest scoring margin, which I'm not going to go too deep into that, but the team ahead of them does play in a little bit different of a situation. But St. X has proven all season long that they have phenomenal scores. They have, I want to say, 9 different guys averaging 5 or more points per game. That's ultimately what's going to lead them to a victory.
You even left
5 seconds
time
on the clock, dude.
So nice. You're so
good
nice
like
to
that.
me.
I'm good like
All right,
that.
let's be real.
I'm going to time him for this.
Let's be real. If you haven't lost a game, it reminds me of, hey, UK fans, listen up. Remember 2015 when you guys went undefeated and you lost to Wisconsin?
Why would
it
bring
just
up
kind of reminds me of that. So I'm going to go with the team that's been to the title game in 2 of the last 3 years, George Rogers Clark. 27-4 on the year, 7th best scoring margin, and they hold their teams to under 54 points per game. Again, they appeared in 2 of the last 3 title games and actually beat Warren Central in the first time around in that title game, and then Warren Central was able to come back and win the following year. But still, George Rogers Clark is a team that I think is going to win the title because of their experience, because of the talent they have. They've been to Rupp Arena, and they're going to make waves in Rupp again.
Perfect timing.
Exactly, I'm perfect.
All right.
Oh.
Duel it out, guys.
I don't know about that.
St. X? Why St. X?
Okay, well, listen.
Why?
When you look at St. X,
why?
listen.
Why?
How long has it been since they've
Why?
been to Rupp? 30 years this year. Okay.
30 years
that
for
lets
St.
you
X?
play with a chip
That's
on your
sad.
shoulder.
That's sad.
1995.
That's not a championship
yeah,
pedigree.
It may not be. It may not be.
GRC
but it
is a
this
championship
season.
pedigree.
You got a team
Let me tell you about that.
plays
Championship
with
pedigree.
a
They've been in
chip
2 of the last
on
3
their
state
shoulder.
title games.
That is crucial. They are going to let that chip carry them all the way to Rupp Arena, and they have the strongest offense. Honestly, Cole, I'd love to see the matchup for both of our teams because you kind of have a unstoppable force versus an immovable object, and the defense and offense is there. It's a matchup I'd enjoy seeing, to be honest.
It would be a good matchup, but we know who's going to win. GRC in Rupp.
We know.
Because they've won in Rupp.
We know.
You know, more than Cal does in Rupp in March.
All right.
Somehow
Let's
we keep
move
dissing
on, guys.
Kentucky.
Now, let's look at the girls' side. Sacred Heart is the defending champions. Ryan, you buying or selling that repeat?
Well, Addie, not only are they the defending champions, they're the 4-time defending champions. First time and only program in the entire state of Kentucky to do so. 8 championships for Sacred Heart, and all of them have come with head coach Donna Moore at some level. All the way back in 1976, their first one that they won, she was a player on that team. And then it took them almost 30 seasons later before she would become head coach again and win another title. The last 25 years, girls high school basketball has run through Sacred Heart. You look at their numbers on the season, 28-3 overall. They lead the 7th region, one of the most competitive regions in the state. They lead the entire state in points per game. They have Zakiah Johnson, who is a phenomenal player. What else needs to be said? They're a phenomenal program. They've run it. They're going for 5.
Finally, you got your timing right. That's good.
I know.
First things first here. He talked about how 25 years Sacred Heart has run Kentucky high school girls basketball. Well, a school up in Union has something to say about that. Coach Heights, beat Sacred Heart in their state title run. Probably would have went back-to-back if a global pandemic didn't stop them. But we're going to go ahead and talk about what I don't see in this year's version of Sacred Heart. It's that the blueprint is already out. Kaylee Marksberry, do I have your attention? Simon Kenton beat them. And then also, GRC is not going to lose twice. So GRC is going to win both boys and girls. And they already played one time. And GRC, they have a common opponent, SK and GRC and Sacred Heart. GRC beat SK 69-34. Simon Kenton beat Sacred Heart, laying out the blueprint of how you beat them.
Well, you talked, Cole.
I did talk.
Here's the thing with our last argument. You argued the point, and look at us. This is cool. What do you know about that? Here's the thing about Sacred Heart. You talked about winning pedigree.
Yeah.
The most defined winning pedigree in all of Kentucky high school sports is arguably Sacred Heart. Nobody does basketball better. If you want to talk about winning pedigrees, you can't argue against Sacred Heart.
True. That's true. I mean,
See?
I'm going to
He's not
concede
going to argue.
However, here's
Donna
the
Moore
thing.
is goated.
Here's the
Goat
thing.
status.
You want to talk about winning? Simon
Goat.
Kenton did it. They laid out the blueprint.
I
They've
don't have to.
lost. GRC is going to go back,
Sacred
watch
Heart
the film
is
on
the
that game, and
blueprint.
they're going to
You
win.
can't copy the blueprint, Cole.
You can't copy when you recruit All-Americans. Yeah, you can't do that.
Exactly. But it gets the job done.
It does.
All right,
Couldn't
last
disagree.
topic. Mr. Basketball is awarded to the top senior in Kentucky. Ryan, who should win the award this year?
This is going to be possibly an unpopular opinion, but I've seen this kid play. I've seen this kid ball out. He deserves his flowers, and I'm going right up the road. Morgantown, Kentucky, give me Ty Price. Yes, they've had a rough season. They've been brutalized by injuries all year long, but he is going to be forever known in Butler County as a legend. Led his program to the first third region title. You see it there on your screen, the numbers he's averaging this season. He's lights out from the free throw line. He's one of the best and smartest players I've ever seen. He's phenomenal off the dribble. He has unlimited range. Literally, he could pull up from anywhere on the court. You could put him in the dang parking lot, and he would still manage to hit a three-point shot. It does not matter. Ty Price is just that skilled, and UT Martin got a good one.
You know, you talk about range. Well, his range ended in March because, you know, they didn't win. So
I knew he was going to go
We're
there.
going to go with the team that has a chance to at least make it to Rupp Arena in great costume. Malachi Moreno, he's going to the University of Kentucky. And my parents know that as much as I hate to admit that Kentucky is a good basketball program, that's a pretty good place to land if you're a Kentucky high school basketball player. What I love about him, he's a walking double-double. He's one of the most efficient players in all of Kentucky high school basketball, and team success matters for this award. If you want coverage, Great Crossing has it. Malachi Moreno, again, if you're getting recruited to go to the University of Kentucky, you're doing something right, and that's why he's going to be a key player in this run. He's going to be Mr. Kentucky basketball this season.
Cole, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you. I just like Ty Price. It's hard to disagree with you.
Yep.
I'm just going to put a different argument out there. Ty Price deserves his flowers. And you can argue in any other season.
Look at the
because
camera,
listen,
it's more professional.
Ty Price has put this team on his back since he was a freshman.
That's true.
He's put up phenomenal numbers every single year. He's undoubtedly skilled. UT Martin stole him. Yeah. Honestly, when you think about it, like, I wouldn't be surprised if in 2 years from now he's playing for a solid mid-major team at an even higher level. I would not be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not doubting Ty Price, but what I'm believing in more is Malachi Moreno and his ability.
That's fair.
I mean, when you're that level of a player, you're getting and one buckets. You're one of the most efficient players from the field. When you're playing that strong, that says something about you. And if you're leading your team from the center position, in modern basketball, it is so hard to lead your team from the center position. All the times it's coming from the guards and the forwards, but when it comes from a center, it is truly unique, and that's why I think Moreno's going to win it.
Yeah.
Guys, that was really beautiful. You started to agree there at the end, come together towards the end. I like it.
It's all for the camera.
Coming up, how the Lady Tops were able to make such a big turnaround from a disappointing end to last season, and the one-star player that made a difference.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depressing stuff. That's what white people think.
You alright?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
to Gilbin. Left block scores with ease.
And another assist to the conference.
Ball comes up left side on a drive. Well defended by WKU. Gilbin comes to get it on the left side. Fires over to Works. And she hits the triple.
It's really easy to play for everybody, just having energy 24/7. I know I can contribute that and bring that every day, so that's usually the first thing I try to get on board with.
Gilbin tips it away, able to come up with it between three Aggies and gives it up to Meade for the bucket. Gilbin attacks and scores on the right block. She's now got 18.
Welcome back to the Extra Point. It's time to talk about the Lady Topper basketball team. Hannah, this has been quite the bounce back from a very disappointing end to last season.
Yeah, you know, I've got to cover some of the games so far in the back half of the season. They have been so fun to watch. Seriously, looking at some of their numbers so far for the season, they are 21-7 overall. They are 12-4 in the conference. They are ranked 3rd in Conference USA right now. They have 4 players scoring 11+ points per game. You know, this team began the season with a really strong performance, including an undefeated run through November, marking the first time since February 2017 that the Lady Toppers went a month with no losses in at least 3 games played. So they've just been so fun to watch, specifically on the offensive end.
Yeah, they're top of the conference in points average, and I think we really have to hit on what you were talking about. The fact that you have 4 players scoring more than 11 points per game. This is a very balanced attack. You're not waiting on one person to have a crazy night to take you over the edge to win. They're able to do it and spread the ball across the court well. They also are 2nd in the conference in steals per game. And the defense is really what sets the team apart this year. And a huge part of that is Alexis Meade. She is so much fun to watch. She's so shifty. There is a reason why she's 7th in the conference in points per game. She also is 5th in the conference in threes per game. And she's sharing the ball too. Look at the assist numbers. She said after that they lost that big game at the end of the season last year that she woke up with immediate championship aspirations and a huge chip on her shoulder. And with the way she's able to play, she's not someone I would want to see in March with a big chip on their shoulder.
Yeah, I said this earlier that I was at the game where Alexis just broke her nose, and she was out for maybe like the last or 2-3 minutes of the quarter, came right back in, and I swear I think the broken nose made her play better in a way. You know, she just perseveres through challenges. But someone else that I wanted to take a look at, we've already talked about her several times throughout the show, and we're going to get to more later, is Josie Gilvin. She has just been, from last season to this season, just absolutely outstanding. She's averaging 12.3 points per game, which is ranked 12th in Conference USA, averaging almost 6 rebounds per game, which is 11th in Conference USA. She's a playmaker, 2.4 assists per game, and she has a 52.9 field goal percentage. She is genuinely so fun to watch. I mean, when she is on the court, she is just locked in at all times. And I think from beginning to end, like, she has no other focus other than simply winning the game, which is exactly how it should be. She's just been absolutely outstanding all season long, so can't wait to watch her in the postseason. But speaking of her, I got the chance to sit down with the Lady Topper basketball star forward, Josie Gilvin. We know her on the court, but here's a peek of Gilvin off the court. Josie Gilvin has become a household name in Hilltopper Nation during the 2024-2025 season. Once averaging just under 5 points per game, she's now putting up double digits. So the question is, what changed?
I'd say just probably honestly my confidence in scoring, just being able to have confidence in myself that I could knock those shots down that I've practiced. I think in the past years I've been a little bit more timid, so just knowing that I can do what I've practiced has been performing well on the court.
And perform well, she has. Josie Gilvin delivered 4 straight double-doubles and dropped a career-high 28 points. But what keeps the momentum going? The unstoppable chemistry of the Lady Toppers.
I think chemistry helps a lot. You know, we talk before, after games, just like what we can do to improve and going into that next game and having the same mindset. So that definitely helps when you know you can be open with your teammates and just like give good or bad feedback. That helps a lot.
So Coach Collins has called you affectionately the Energizer Bunny before. How do you keep that high-level energy going into every single game?
Yeah, I mean, I know that's something I can rely on. I've done that since I was little, so I know that as long as I have energy, I bring that to my teammates. That's all I can really do. So, you know, that's just something I've always done, so I know I can do it every day.
So if you're the Energizer Bunny, then who would you say on the team is the charger that keeps everybody locked in every single game?
Yeah, probably I'd say Acacia or Destiny. You know, they're always pretty consistent too and great leaders, so they just keep you on track. And Kinsey too, she keeps you locked in. So we have a lot of people who are like that. So if someone's running low on energy, I know that they'll be there to back them up.
The Lady Toppers have one mindset heading into tournament play: focus. After the way last season ended, Josie and the team are locked in with something to prove.
I'd say we're pretty focused, you know, and we're definitely very motivated to do something this season, which the returners, we know what happened last season, so we're definitely very focused going into this swing trip and into the conference tournament.
Being a winner does not come without its superstitions and rituals. Let it be known that Josie will never skip hers.
This sounds weird, but I have to wear the same spandex and sports bra every game. I drink my Red Bull before every game, do the handstand before every game, say the same prayer before every game. So I have a lot of superstitions that I've kept since high school, honestly, but if I don't do them, I feel like I'm going to do bad.
Well,
so
hey,
I have to do them.
It's working for you this season, so keep doing it. The Lady Toppers are headed into tournament play with over 20 wins, but they are not done yet.
We're really just excited to show what we've been working on this season. I mean, every game has gotten progressively better, so I think that we're really ready to make a bang out in Huntsville.
Well, something that I asked her at the end of that interview, I did some rapid fire questions with her, just a little more getting to know you things. The last thing that I asked her was, what is one word to describe this season so far? She said, while it was recording, she said, fun. But then after the interview, after the cameras turned off, she goes, I wanted to say chaotic, but I didn't know if that was okay. So I guess like fun chaos. And I think that that's a perfect way to describe this season so far, and specifically Josie's performance.
It really is, and that's the adjective that keeps coming up over and over again. This team is so fun. There's so much energy, and I think that's really exciting heading into March, because those are the teams that you really want to root for.
Right.
Once a Hilltopper, always a Hilltopper, but for one WKU athlete, that's more than just a saying. Former WKU basketball star Tara Johns is back, this time as an assistant coach. I sat down with her about returning home to the Hill.
Describe that feeling of getting to return and coach at your alma mater. That must have been like a pinch me moment.
It felt surreal and great at the same time, because I love the school. I love being a Hilltopper. Like, this is near and dear to my heart, and be able to play, but then circle around, come back, and being a coach is was pretty much like a dream.
And Coach Collins talked extremely highly of you and why he chose to bring you onto the staff. From your perspective, what do you think you're going to bring to this team, and what have you already brought in this first season?
I've come through successful programs, so I've learned a lot on different coaches, and just came from a top 25 program in the nation. I think that aspect of knowing how to win.
What do you think is the thing that has been that spark for you?
The kids make me want to do better. It's a love-hate relationship a lot of times, because you have to get on them, make sure they're held accountable in that aspect, but you have to love on them too.
To be able to bring banners to your alma mater has got to be such a special feeling and something that you're really longing for.
Absolutely, 100%. Like that's what you strive for. You strive to win. Like, you do everything in your power to win, but also it's not just always about basketball, but also life and how to bring life lessons to these kids.
Returning here a decade and a half later, what's different? What's the same?
Like how the campus has grown, which is awesome. The new facilities is awesome, but also it's still that hometown feel. It's still the same type of fans.
How would you describe yourself as a player? What were your top attributes?
I didn't care if I was down 30 points. I wasn't giving up. That was my mentality.
Seems like that's really translated into your coaching as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You get me on this court, there's another side of competitiveness that comes out in me.
Tara told me that the reason that she hyphenated her last name to Arnold Johns was because when she came back to Kentucky, people were like, Tara Arnold. They were so confused because they had known her from playing on the team, so that's why she did that, which I think says a lot about, the connection she was able to make. She only played here 1 year, but she was able to make a connection in that short period of time.
Yeah, and I was talking about it with Todd. I love that her mentality is just never give up, and I feel like that's translated really well into the performance of the Lady Toppers so far this season.
Absolutely.
Well, coming up, we will see how intense the 4th region has become. More next on The Extra Point.
10-footer. Knocks it down. Great drive on the right side. Goes up for two. Basket in the foul.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Yo, camping buddy. Okay, you guys ready?
Dude, I thought you were driving.
I thought you were driving.
Oh, I never said I was driving. I definitely can't drive.
Okay.
If you're high, just don't drive. It's illegal everywhere. If you feel different, you drive different.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Okay. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
10-footer. Knocks it down. Great drive on the right side. Goes up for two. Basket in the foul. Counted in the foul for Josie Allen. Three-pointer on the way. And that one good for Lily Bly. Cawthorn in the paint. Benarama for two and banks it in on the left side.
Welcome back to the Extra Point. The 4th Region Girls Tournament is in full swing, and Cole's already said it, but I'm going to say it again. Huge shout out to our Extra Point team. They've had phenomenal coverage all week long, and that's only going to continue over the next several weeks. Alec, Lincoln, Kaylee, Eli. There's too many people to name. Our crew has had a phenomenal job, but it's been an exciting time so far. Hannah, this region is just so competitive, but it seems like, at least for this championship game tomorrow night, it's all going to run through Franklin Simpson.
Yeah, you know, I feel like the regional tournament so far has kind of played out as expected, but I think one of the bigger storylines is that Bowling Green got beat out by Metcalfe County the other night. You know, they won region last year, and so I feel like that was something that maybe some people expected, but yeah, I feel like it's played out pretty much as drawn up so far.
Yeah, and as we look at the bracket and kind of how things have played out over this last week, first off, Hannah just mentioned it. That loss for Bowling Green to Metcalfe County, that was huge. That was something a lot of people didn't see coming. Bowling Green has run the 4th region for the girls tournament for the last 5 years. Calvin Head has had this basically on lock, and they've struggled a little bit with injuries over the years, so you see it there on the bracket. Franklin Simpson, they had a tough route to get there too. They had Barron County on their side of the bracket. Cumberland County was strong as well. South Warren with a really strong offense as well, led by McLean Hudson. That was one that maybe was going to prove themselves to be a challenge, but none of it was too strong, at least thus far, for 4th Region Player of the Year, Larisha Cawthorn and Franklin Simpson Lady Cats. They've just like you said, it's been a year that they've basically defined themselves.
Right. No, and I feel like Larisha Cawthorn, having her on your team, there's not much you can do, you know, when you're an opponent at that point. Yeah,
I mean, Tennessee Tech basically stole her up,
right.
I think Tennessee Tech got themselves a player when it comes to Larisha Cawthorn. There's nobody that's going to be better for them. She's going to fit into their mold really well, too. She's going to add a lot of decent size to that Tennessee Tech team. But right now, you know, her eyes are fully set on bringing this team a state title. That's ultimately what Franklin Simpson is looking forward to. But actually, Cole McIntire had a chance to sit down in on one of their practices. So let's take a look at how Franklin Simpson is at the top of the 4th region.
our coaching staff. They enjoy our atmosphere and our culture here at Franklin.
Inside these walls,
we call it building blocks. Build on from the day before.
there are plans to build a path to Lexington.
This year is really precious, which is why I feel like we're going to cherish it and we're going to go out with a bang this year.
But a road to Rupp Arena is 16 years in the making.
Our goal is to still go and win the region, but it's further this time as we want to get the state and we want to make a far run in state.
In Franklin, Simpson girls basketball hasn't been in a state Sweet 16 since 2009.
Great talk, great talk.
And that talk around Franklin Simpson is growing. The Lady Wildcats sit at first in the 4th region and hold the 5th spot in the state.
If we're having a bad game, you can't ever say that we aren't working hard, and I feel like that just describes us a lot.
But there's another word to describe this team.
I just want them to remember me as a dog, like somebody who's always getting after it.
It's about having grit and being a dog, and that's been kind of embedded in our play, is to be a dog, be tough.
Coach Tremaine started that a couple years ago with them, talking about he wanted disciplined athletes with grit.
And now, this team of Lady Wildcats is full of dogs.
Sometimes the goal is to stop me from shooting threes, but once I see one go down, it's barbecue chicken from there, so.
They're only a couple of weeks away from the postseason, but this team
Look where you're at.
has their sights set on a run at history.
What a
First
team.
off, Larisha Cawthorn is a certified bucket. Yes, she is a dog. She says she wants to be known as a dog. She's going to be known as a dog. But for this team to have made it this far, this is the step they've been waiting for.
Right.
But it doesn't just end here. They want to take it that next level, and it starts tomorrow night against Metcalfe County.
Well, speaking of that, let's get our picks so far of what we're thinking for tomorrow night. Ryan, who do you got tomorrow?
Well, listen, obviously, it's between Franklin Simpson and the Metcalfe County Lady Hornets. Now, nobody can bet against Franklin Simpson. Hannah, you mentioned it earlier. This tournament has pretty much gone the exact way that they wanted it to. But here's the thing. You're going to get met in this championship game tomorrow night with a Metcalfe County team that has had one of their strongest seasons on record. And it's only under a third-year head coach in Coach Coleman for the Metcalfe County Lady Hornets. This is only her 3rd season. The 1st season, they struggled. She was trying to get the team accustomed to her style of play. 2nd year, last season, took the Metcalfe County Lady Hornets all the way to the semifinals in the 4th region tournament. Now she has a chance in just her 3rd season to win a 4th region championship and punch their ticket to state. They got 2 of the top 50% free throw shooters, or 2 of the top 50. Listen at me, I can't talk. I'll get it out in a minute. 2 of the top 50 free throw shooters in the state of Kentucky on their team, and Josie Allen's one of those. She's going to be one that when you see Franklin Simpson and Metcalfe County go up against each other, don't be surprised when you see Josie Allen and Larisha Cawthorn going head-to-head in the paint.
Well, it's funny that you've been hyping up Franklin Simpson this whole time, and then you're picking against them.
Listen,
what are you doing?
I gotta be counter odds. I gotta say, listen,
underdog kind of guy.
It's not going to be easy, but.
All right, well, going off that, I'm going to have to go with Franklin Simpson Lady Cats. First off, they have the best player on the floor of the entire region, Larisha Cawthorn, 4th region player of the year, putting up 21 points per game. You know, when you have a star like that leading the way, you're always in a good position to win. But it's not just about scoring. Franklin Simpson gets it done on defense. They allow just 34.9 points per game, ranking 3rd in KHSAA. And let's talk about dominance. They have 21.4 point margin of victory, which is 12th best in the state. And I think the one point that I really, really wanted to make here is that Franklin Simpson has remained at the top of Extra Point Reporters rankings every single week the entire season. And if you guys watched our promo, Cole said we might not be great on the court, but we know how to report on it. And so I think that means something.
It does.
It
Absolutely.
does. All right, well, now that we have seen the girls, we'll take a look at what the boys' 4th region tournament looks like next on the Extra Point.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What?
I can't drive.
Why?
I'm high.
Oh.
For the tie, got it in! Banks, three, good! 4 seconds to go!
Braylon Banks.
Gosh.
That's a name to know.
Every time I see that shot,
Yeah.
I still get chills. Every time I see that shot. I needed slow-mo.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. And we've covered the girls region. It's happening right now. We already got you set up for the championship game now, but now we're moving to the boys region in Diddle Arena coming up starting on Monday. And this draw showed everything that these fans were looking forward to. Some of the biggest things, though, I'm going to get into first is I'm going to talk about Bowling Green's draw. They probably got one of the most favorable paths to the 4th Region Championship game. First round going up against Glasgow. That's the most favorable matchup out of any of the district losers because Glasgow was in it, winners. And as far as Franklin Simpson, Russell County, those are the other two teams on the side with Bowling Green. Those are teams that they can have a comfortable margin against in that game. But Ryan, talk to me about the other side of the bracket.
Well, when you look at Warren Central's side, I mean, Cole, you just mentioned it. Clinton County, that's kind of the big question mark,
yes,
right? Clinton County is kind of the biggest question mark in the region right now. And actually, if you look at a lot of rankings, both in-state or mostly in-state, KSR, I think, had Clinton County ranked number 11 team in the entire state of Kentucky, which,
we'll get to
granted,
KSR
Clinton County has had a phenomenal season. It's not taken away from them, but it's just a big question mark. They haven't played a single 14 district team. How they're going to maybe match up against a Warren Central or a Bowling Green is a big question mark, but I think Logan County and how they perform in that game is going to be probably your biggest indicator if they can pull out that win.
Yeah, you talk about KSR. KSR also had Clinton County winning this region.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Come on. If it's not in Lexington, Matt Jones doesn't really know what he's talking about.
Yeah. But either way, on both sides, it looks pretty competitive. And you can't necessarily count out Glasgow either. It might be an easier route, but Glasgow, they weren't necessarily favored to win their district either.
No,
and
they're
they
a team that
just
defies the odds.
Yeah, exactly. They just drove right through that district and made their path to Diddle Arena.
And if they can continue to do that and get wins in March, that's key, especially with how big momentum plays in March.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a big question mark, but Bowling Green, again, favorable, but still got to keep your eyes up.
Yes, and there's a lot of history on the line this year, but now Greenwood basketball added some history and added more names to their rafters. Reporter Tyler Fernandez caught up with the players to learn more about their success.
Greenwood is no stranger to greatness.
Let's go, wake it up.
And for two Greenwood Gator basketball players,
Should be a notch quicker here, should be a little quicker here.
they have quickly added to that success. Both Nick Simpson
Launch for the three, Simpson left wing, good!
and Asher Pettis.
Pettis in the paint, goes up for two, and lays it in! Nick Simpson, you have company!
I like how you mentioned student section, all my buddies did come out to see me. It was awesome to see all of them lined up like that, the poster and everything they did for me.
Both Simpson and Pettis became the 10th and 11th Greenwood boys basketball players to be named to the 1,000-point club.
It was amazing. Obviously, it was on a loss, which, hurts a little bit, but it's still a cool accomplishment. It's been something I've been wanting to do my whole career here at Greenwood, and as soon as I got it, there was lots of happiness, and I was really glad we got the win as well.
And there's no doubt from the eyes of head coach Will McCoy.
That was a good group.
that he is proud to add 2 more players to the list.
It's a great accomplishment that's seen as an individual thing, but really a testament to their teammates as well of being so willing to play through those guys the last 3 years. Here we go, right into perfection, right into perfection.
They both joined Ben Carroll and Gators legend Cade Stinnett as the 4 players to be on that list in Coach McCoy's tenure.
Cade was such an elite player here, and so was his team. The 21-22 team was really good. So to be a part of that, you know, his legacy is really cool to hear.
For Coach, it has been a testament to everything that they have worked for over their 4 years of being on the Gators basketball team.
You don't become a 1,000-point scorer because you've had a good year, you've had a good career.
Even though their time as Greenwood basketball players is over, the legacy they leave behind will last a lifetime.
Be an elite company like that, it's amazing.
For the Extra Point,
Chicken Bacon Ranch Pizza.
I'm Tyler Fernandez, and I'll see you at
Chicken Bacon Ranch Pizza.
That makes me hungry.
I could go for some Chicken Bacon Ranch Pizza.
Have you ever had Chicken Bacon Ranch Pizza?
No, but it sounds good.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
We got to get you Chicken Bacon Ranch
Yeah,
Pizza.
exactly.
Or Buffalo Chicken Ranch Pizza, too. It's just as good.
It's Buffalo's good.
Buffalo's where it's at.
All right, so we're going to stop talking about food. We're going to talk
we
about
got to move into basketball.
We're going to dive deeper into this tournament. Ryan, it seems like the same 2 teams kind of come up in the 4th region every year, but who is your team to look out for?
Well, I think you have to look at one of 2 teams, Cole.
Yeah.
We already know we're basically talking about Warren Central and Bowling Green, but I got to look at Bowling Green.
Yeah.
Because the Purples, arguably, Cole, you mentioned momentum before we went into that story. Look at what Bowling Green has done thus far. Went 0-2 against Warren Central in the regular season, but 14 district tournament time rolls around and they've rallied to a big win. They're 47% from 3 this season. They lead not just the region, but the entire state of Kentucky. They're one of the strongest offenses in the state of Kentucky as well. Bowling Green has done phenomenal things. One of the best in scoring margin as well, and 3rd in shooting from the field in terms of field goal percentage for Bowling Green. They're a lights-out offense. That's what it's going to come down to basically get them to that championship opportunity.
And another thing to go off of that is when you talk about Bowling Green, they have that championship level experience playing inside Diddle Arena and having success in Diddle Arena, and that's going to play a key role for those players to get used to shooting inside of an arena. But another team to look out for, another team that's going to be a key pivotal piece in this 4th region tournament is going to be the Warren Central Dragons. Coach Unseld has this team ready. They have a championship level pedigree. Ryan, we argued about that for a long time about what teams do. I think we can both agree Warren Central has that. They have the best roster in the 4th region. Their victory margin is insane. They can out-rebound teams. And one of my favorite things about this team is they are long, but they are athletic. And that is so hard to find height that can also go coast to coast across the court. But we're going to keep our coverage coast to coast because you saw Ryan and I argue, but we're going to switch it over to Hannah and Addie as they argue. A delay game is up next.
Yeah, don't miss our top segment next on the Extra Point.
Bring it.
I heard that. Cool.
Time out, guys. I'm late to dinner. My mom's gonna kill me. Catch you guys later.
Mom wants us home. Okay. Bye, guys.
You guys need a ride? Sure. Yeah. All right. How about some one-on-one?
I gotta go eat, man. Sorry, I'll see you later.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
All right, welcome back to the Extra Point. It's time for round 2 of everyone's favorite segment delay game. You know the rules by now. Addie, Hannah, we're going to talk a little bit about the Commonwealth and the 2 big teams, Louisville versus Kentucky.
Been waiting for this the entire show, Cole.
Yep. So we're going to start off with this first question. Which fan base should be happier this year? Addie, I'll start with you.
So it's kind of a weird thing to argue how down bad your team was, essentially. It could not have gotten lower for the Louisville Cardinals. If you remember, before COVID year, we were projected to be an overall #1 seed. Kenny Payne takes over that team, drives it to the ground. We are in the top 25 for the first time in 4 years. The stat that really stands out to me is that Kenny Payne lost more games to Division II teams than he won away games. Let that sink in. So the bounce back for us is astronomically bigger because we were down further.
Yeah. There you go. All right.
Don't need the rest of my time.
There you go. Hannah, what you got?
All right, well, when you think of Kentucky basketball, you think of University of Kentucky basketball. Let me just point that out quick. But looking at some of my reasonings as to why, I think the slogan of this whole thing is Cal's a goner, cats are stronger, and I have to pay my respects to Coach Calipari. He was good while we had him, but in the last 5 years, simply he was not. He produced one and dones, not championships. We had NBA talent rolling through Lexington for years, specifically in the last 5 years, but we had no banners out of it, and that's just disappointing being a part of BBN. Postseason results were just absolutely brutal. They won 1 NCAA tournament in the last 6 years, which is just unacceptable for Kentucky basketball. In Rupp Arena, Kentucky lost 12 home games to unranked teams, which is, again, unacceptable.
Hannah, your time's up. You went like 5 seconds over.
You know what, Hannah? I get it. Hindsight's 20/20. I think it's funny that Kentucky fans didn't have a problem with this whole one and done thing until Cal was gone, and now all of a sudden we were so mad about it, guys. You were mad when you lost in the first round.
He was bringing in banners.
We were mad
about one and dones when he was bringing in banners, but in the last 5 years, when he was doing the one and dones, there was no banners. So what changed? That was the problem. And as a Kentucky fan, it was simply unacceptable.
You know what? At least y'all made it to the tournament.
There you go.
At least y'all made it to the tournament.
Okay, but as a Kentucky fan, though, we typically go way farther. Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final 4. We could barely even get there in the first place,
Okay, well,
we do have a more recent national championship than you, need I remind you.
Ooh, okay. Let's go to floor generals. Let's talk about the floor generals on this team. Dagger to the heart, Addie, right before I wrap you guys up. Nice job. Okay, Butler versus Hepburn. Those 2 players are leading both their teams. I don't think we have to argue about them leading their respective teams, but which player is doing a better job of it? Addie, I'll start with you.
We have not had a more beloved player at the University of Louisville since Peyton Sivo, which is actually Chucky Hepburn's mentor, which, makes sense, paying it forward. Chucky is averaging 16.3 points per game. He's 23rd in the nation. During the game against Pittsburgh, he dropped 37 points and 6 consecutive threes in a row without a break. It was a remarkable performance. He's somebody who's able to take over when we need him, and that's what he's done. He's carried us to so many victories this year, but he also shares the ball. He's not selfish. Whenever Terrence Edwards got a technical foul, or somebody else did, he was going to shoot the free throws. He passed it off. Yep. Well,
all right,
I didn't get to it. Sorry, guys.
We'll hear the point later.
I'll tell you after.
Okay, well, Lamont Butler, he has been a pride and joy in Lexington so far this season. Looking at some of his stats so far, he is the 8th best statistical output per box BPR. He has a season high 33 versus who? Louisville? Okay, let's make a note of that. He is shooting almost 50% from the field goal, and he is a playmaker. He is averaging 4.5 assists per game. Lamont has been dealt kind of a bad hand so far this season. He's been injured for a lot of it, but the fact that those are still his stats with the injury, and he's still ranking in top 20 of SEC so far, that is still remarkable, and he, like I said, has been a fan favorite. There was just a package over him in Lexington, and people just love him.
I think the easiest way to look at this is to compare head-to-head. Chucky is averaging more points, rebounds, and assists than Lamont Butler.
Again,
I don't know how
Lamont
you
has been
numbers.
missing some games because of a shoulder injury.
That's
He's still
divided out. That's divided out for the games, though, so that takes that into account.
I don't know. I think at the end of the day, we have Chucky in the ACC, we have Lamont in the SEC.
The SEC is 500 since conference play started.
You're not in this delay of game. Get out of here. What are you doing here? Get out. This is not, okay, at the end of the day, I'm never going to root for somebody named Chucky. I just think that's weird.
Oh, okay.
And so.
All right, I'm cutting you off. Okay.
He's cutting me off after that.
We're going to talk about coaches now. We're going to take the heat off of the players. We're going to talk about coaches. Who is having a better year one, Pat Kelsey or Mark Pope? Addie, I'll start with you.
Pat Kelsey revived this program. He is on the Naismith Men's Coach of the Year watch list. Let's pull up some of the stats about Pat Kelsey. A notable omission from that list, from the experts who are deciding these things, is Mark Pope.
Oh.
It's also important to note that currently right now, Louisville is sitting in at 13th in the coaches poll, which is 11 spots ahead of Kentucky. To me, it seems like the Louisville Cardinals keep getting better, overcoming adversity through injuries. And if you look at the rankings, it really seems like Kentucky just keeps getting worse. And I think that's the sign of a bad coach.
Ooh. All right, Hannah, your rebuttal.
Okay. We cannot sit here and call Mark Pope a bad coach off of the things that he has been producing in year one in what is nationally known as one of the best basketball schools in Kentucky. You know, like it says on your screen, in Mark Pope, we trust. That is the motto for the end of the day. Pope did not just step into this position. He's been making an immediate impact. You know, Kentucky's leading the nation in regular season wins versus AP top 15 teams. You know, he's building for the future as well. He currently has 2025's recruiting class, and it's ranked 6th nationally. You know, we're talking about the stats, we're talking about the polls, whatever, but it's also just about the production of what's been happening so far this season.
And what's been happening is that you've been losing to teams you shouldn't be losing to.
You're right, but also at the end of and you know what? You're right, and I'm not going to disagree with you on that. We should not, but at the end of the day, we've also been beating teams that we probably shouldn't be, you know?
100%.
But I agree. It's weird that we're losing to the teams. And that's something that's just going to be an adjustment going forward that I think that Pope also, he has like halftime adjustments way better than Cal. And I know that we're past that argument, the Cal argument, but his halftime production and flipping the team around has just been remarkable this season. And so we're just excited to see going forward everything else that Pope can do.
And I won't disagree with you that he's a better coach than Cal, but the argument was, is he a better coach than Pat Kelsey? And that's where I'm going to have to disagree.
Okay, but also Pope's in the SEC again, Kelsey's in the ACC. So when you're looking at it and the competition that they have, I don't know how much of an argument.
We'll see you guys in March. That's all I got to say.
See you in March.
See what happens in March.
We'll see what happens.
March is going to be big. But up next, we're going to take our own trip to March as we go to Huntsville. We'll give you our picks for the Conference USA Tournament. Don't miss it here on The Extra Point.
That was good.
Thanks.
Move the chairs.
I don't like arguing with Hannah. I wish I could argue with someone else.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's what white people think.
You alright?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk. but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Welcome back to The Extra Point. We are under a week away from the Conference USA tournament where dreams could be made a reality. And let's first talk about the women's side and especially that Conference Player of the Year title. Ryan, who do you think is going to walk away with that?
Well, my opinion may be unpopular in terms of the experts, but I would consider the four of us sitting at this table to also be experts. And as well, Hannah, you talked to her just a couple of days ago.
Yep.
Give me the Energizer Bunny and give me Josie Gilvin. She's top 13 in 5 unique Conference USA stats. I want to say that she's the only player in the entire conference to be able to say that. 2.5 steals per game, second in the conference, and that is crucial to the success of this Western Kentucky team because they're also second in the conference in that stat. 6 rebounds per game, 11th in the conference, and only averaging 30 minutes played per game, which is 16th in the conference, and she's still getting things done all over the floor. That's why my pick, though maybe unpopular, is going to be Josie Gilvin.
All right, well, I'm going to carry off the Lady Toppers, and I'm going to go with Miss Alexis Mead. She has just been absolutely dominant all season long. I think we've talked about her broken nose once, at least twice now, but I would bring it up again. She's averaging almost 14 points per game, which is ranked 7th in Conference USA, averaging 4 assists per game, 3rd in Conference USA, meaning she is just a playmaker. She is ranked #1 in Conference USA for assist turnover ratio, and she has almost 90% free throws, ranking 2nd in Conference USA. You know, like I said so many times this entire show, she has just been so dominant on both sides of the court, so she will be my pick for Player of the Year.
I'm going to flip the script on the middle child, so I like to be different. So I'm going to go with a player from Kennesaw State, Prentice Harden, the walking double-double. I think she's a player that is one of the most efficient in Conference USA. Again, when you create double-doubles week in and week out, you are a player that's going to have key impacts on your program. And Addie, who do you got?
You got to go with a player from the best team on the women's side. I hate to admit it, but Middle Tennessee State is electric this year. I've got to go with Tamia Scott. She's efficient on both sides of the court. She's 2nd in the conference in points per game, 4th in block shots. There have been multiple games where the junior scored or assisted on more than 50% of the team's points, which is really impressive, and I think she's got it secured.
Nice. And so now let's talk about the teams. Ryan, who do you think on the women's side is going to win the Conference USA title?
Well, I think something you noticed about all 4 of our picks for Player of the Year is that there was a little bit of a leeway there. 2 players that 2 of us picked, both coming from the Lady Tops, and that's why I think they're going to be the favorite for this Conference USA pick. And they're not, the 2 players that we talked about aren't the only ones you need to talk about. 4 players averaging 11+ points per game. Again, we talked about that steals. That's Greg Collins, basketball 101. Generating steals, they're 2nd in the conference in that stat. 16 assists per game. Hannah, when you talked to Josie Gilvin, it was all about that chemistry.
Yep.
This team has loads of that. Despite bringing in 9 new players over the offseason, they've got what it takes to have success in March.
Well, I like your pick, so I'm going to copy it. I am also going to take Western Kentucky Lady Toppers, but I have a little bit different reasons than you, though. They are currently ranked 3rd overall in Conference USA. They beat MTSU, which is the #1 ranked team in Conference USA right now, back in January, 63-58. They're the 1st ranked offense in Conference USA, and like you said, they have 4 players in the top 20 Conference USA scoring. So I think that, there's a debate there, but I love my Lady Tops, so that's my pick.
I know I said just like a couple of seconds ago that I like to be different. I'm not going to be different this time. I'm going to quote Tyler Fernandez. How about them Lady Toppers?
Here we go.
How about them Lady Toppers? So 72.8 points per game. 63 opponents' points per game. They are the top team when it comes to offense. They're in the top half of the league when it comes to defense. They are incredibly efficient from the 3-point line. Their assist-to-turnover ratio is good. Give me the Lady Toppers.
Anyone else at home getting bored? I mean, y'all sound like a broken record.
You know, I'm
sorry.
I'm
scared.
I gotta go with Middle Tennessee. Look at this stat. Look at the top one on your screen.
Here we go.
Their opponents
Cole's
average
gone. He's walked off.
just a little bit over 50 points per game. Defense is what wins championships. They're 1st in home attendance, and they have nearly double the amount of fans there as the team in 2nd place in the conference, which shows the fans are rallying behind this team for a reason, and I think that's something that'll carry them into March.
Stir in the pot.
I really hope, Alec, if she ever picks any Middle Tennessee player in our next round of pick'ems, there's a mute button on the audio board. Just tap it.
I think you guys are going to be
Alex
disappointed.
got the forewarning.
Let's talk about the men's side, though. Ryan, who is taking home the Conference Player of the Year?
Well, this is one, again, you can make a multitude of different arguments for this one, but I'm looking at Sam Houston's own Lamar Wilkerson. He has done phenomenal things, and a large part of that has been what he's been able to do from the perimeter. Three-point shooting is his game. He was on the All-CUSA first team last year, and he's just providing more reason why he should be on that list again this season. 19.7 points per game. He's averaged 20-plus at certain parts of the year, but he's phenomenal from the field, both from three and just from the field in general. 47% from the field. 5th in Conference USA. That's what's going to be crucial, I think, for him to possibly take home this award, but the three-point shooting is really what sets him apart.
Well, if I picked Alexis Mead as the Women's Player of the Year, I have to pick a WKU Men for Player of the Year. Give me Donnie Dimes. He is averaging 17.2 points per game. He is sixth ranked in Conference USA as a scoring leader, 8th ranked in Conference USA in steals. He had a career-high 30 points versus Kennesaw State just a couple weeks ago. And so, I don't know, he has been a fan favorite for Hilltopper Nation. That might be a little bit of a hot take in the conference as a whole, but I could see it happening. Dawn is just absolutely dominant. Dominant Dawn.
Dominant
Dawn. Hey, I like that.
Dominant Dawn?
Hey, he's an LPG.
Yeah, there you go.
Dawn the Dagger.
Okay, let's talk about a player on Jacksonville State that's going to be huge. Jaron Pierre Jr. is a player that I'm picking for Conference USA Player of the Year. He's top in the conference in scoring. He's the second most efficient player in the conference from behind the arc, and he's a player that has gotten recognition so far this season, so that's why I'm picking him. Also, team success matters in an award like this, so Jacksonville State is one of the top teams in the conference, and they're a team that could make a title run for the Conference USA tournament in Huntsville, so that's why I'm picking them. Addie, who do you got?
A lot of your all's picks are leading the conference in different statistical categories. My pick is actually leading the nation. Let's get him up on the screen right there.
Okay.
La Tech's Daniel Bacho. He's second in the NCAA in field goal percentage at 67%. He cannot miss, guys. He also won the preseason Player of the Year award for this season. So if that's any indication of how they're going to vote, I would take a look at that, and I think it's likely going to him.
That's good. That's good. Now let's talk about our final rounds. It's the final time we're making pick-ems. Here we go. So the men's team, who do you think is going to win the conference tournament?
Well, Cole, you mentioned a player on this team, and that's exactly why I'm going to say Jacksonville State, because no, you may not look at them and say, oh, they're about middle of the conference in offensive stats, rebounding, things of that nature, but it's the crucial points in that they know how to hold on to the rock. 8.6 turnovers per game, that's the fewest in the conference. 11.1 assist to turnover ratio, about middle ground of the conference. They're in the top half there, but it's that rebound margin and that scoring margin. Even though they're not necessarily the top of the conference in scoring, they have that high scoring margin in there as well.
All right, well, this one might be a little bit of a hot take, but I've picked WKU for every single pick so far, so I'm going to continue that in saying that WKU will be winning the conference tournament. They beat New Mexico State by 30 points, over 30 points, which they are a top contender in the conference. They lost to Jack State, who is #1 in the conference right now, by only 2 points, meaning they will show up when it matters. They're the 3rd-ranked offense in Conference USA, and my last point is it's March. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. That's why I'm going with Liberty, because they're a team that when you look at them, they're in the top margin in Conference USA. Their defense is incredibly efficient. Their offense is good. And that assist-to-turnover ratio is so key, because in March, you can take your defense with you. You can take not turning the ball over with you. You can't always take your high-making shot ability with you in March. So I think that's going to be key. Addie, if you say a team 100 miles down, I'm going to.
It doesn't bring me joy to do this.
Happen.
But you got to look at the
fine.
numbers. I've got the sleeper pick,
Here we
Middle
go.
Tennessee State University. Pull it up, guys. 2nd in Conference USA in points per game, 2nd in rebounds. Scoring margins also impressive. If you look at the numbers, I think they stand a real chance. It is a little bit of a sleeper pick, but somebody's got to stir the pot, right? I mean,
I don't like stirring the pot.
No.
Yes, you do. That's normally what you do.
Oh, come on.
I'm taking your role.
Okay, thank you for taking the heat off of me. I appreciate it.
Seriously.
I mean, come on, Addie. Why?
No, I'm sorry, guys. In my deepest heart of hearts, it's going to Washington.
She kind of wants to transfer there.
To-
For her
to
last
say
semester
that-
of college,
No,
just
guys.
head down.
Yeah.
Head down 100 miles.
To quote the great Hannah Hamelback, it's March. You can argue middle, because anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Okay, Ryan.
Anything can happen. But thank you guys for sticking with us for our hour-and-a-half special. We'll see you after spring break. As always, it's up.
And it's good.